Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. It's time for your Raw rundown. Let's get you caught up on all the things in entertainment news that happened this week. So you go into the weekend, you feel good, you feel like you are informed, and you can talk to your friends about pretty much anything. I'm Dax Holt, joined by Mr. Adam Glyn. How are you, sir?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't complain. I'm excited to go into this weekend. It's been a busy week in entertainment. I mean, obviously, I feel like it's all been Johnny and Amber, but there is a lot of other things that have happened this week. So we can just jump right in and we'll try to get this done and out and you guys on your way in about 25 or so minutes.
Let's do it. All right, let's start with number 10.
All right. So number 10 is Travis Scott. He is lining up his first festival since the whole Astroworld incident. This is a big deal. He has not headlined a festival since those 10 people died and several hundred were injured when that crowd began surging at Scott's set back at the Astroworld Festival. Obviously they are still in court over this whole thing. How do you, Adam, feel about him headlining once again?
I mean, listen, it's bound to happen eventually. He's been very quiet since the incident. It's interesting that they kind of subtly said, "Hey, he's performing for the F1 racing down at 11 in Miami." Like it wasn't like very promoted, but again, the guy's eventually has to go back to work. He's going to be getting paid a lot because you don't understand this F1 weekend in Miami. People are saying there's going to be more people at this event than the Super Bowl as far as celebrity goes. Like, it's a very big deal. Like, people are really into this F1 sport, and they got some huge acts going on that entire weekend. And now having him perform or hosting an event, and who knows if he'll actually perform. I don't know what he's going to do. I think everyone's curious, but eventually he has to go back to work. I mean, it's about time.
Well, so the thing is, it sounds like he's actually done private gigs up until this point, but like they're kind of not touting it. They're not publicizing it. He's been doing kind of like behind the scenes, doing some club appearances, but not like promoting it because it still is such a sensitive topic. So, it's got to happen. Like you said, he can't just not perform ever again. So, we'll see how the fans react to this and how family members of those people that lost family members in the Astroworld incident. But all right, let's move on.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. I'm curious how people are going to react to it as far as the families of the people that were unfortunately lost during that music festival. You got to imagine some media outlets, because this is what happens, guys. Media outlets, they unfortunately go towards. They need, they're a business at the end of the day. So a lot of them pick up some tough tweets and say, hey, I can't believe, they'll say the internet's speaking. But is the internet really speaking? No, they just found 5 people on Twitter that commented negatively about Travis Scott performing, and they use that as a news story. That's what these outlets do. It's not the first time.
Absolutely. All right, number 9. This was wild, but Amanda Bynes and her fiance have a giant blow up at their home over alleged drug use and mother-son porn. Did you see this crazy shit go down?
It's hard to see. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad Amanda Bynes, I thought was on the right path, but then once you see the photos of her, it's
scary, right?
It's
This
scary.
is a scary situation. So if you have not been following her on Instagram, basically she jumped on her stories and started posting all this crazy crap this morning. So her and her fiance, Paul Michael, they recently just moved in together because her conservatorship was terminated in March after 8 years. She finally got that terminated. Well, she claims that he was using drugs behind her back, stole her Adderall stole her medication. He was using it. Then she said she found that he was using crack, cocaine. I mean, all these things. He claims that she stole his prescription pills, which were the Adderall. The cops were called out to their home on Thursday morning after the blowout. She then later deleted the Instagram stories about her fiance, who, by the way, she met at a sober living facility back in 2019. I mean, when you start throwing around that someone has a stash of crack cocaine, that's a pretty big accusation.
That's
So then
huge.
she went on to say that she found him watching mom and son porn on his phone, and that he went and vandalized his mom's home, breaking all of her photos, and putting salmon under her bed.
Dude, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Again, people say free Britney, people say free Amanda, but these are wild stories. I don't know, but again, these are all allegations. We don't know what's going on here. We just hope that
So,
people get their
so
shit.
I can tell you that TMZ says that the police were called at 2:30 a.m. and told the dispatcher that, so this is the boyfriend or the fiance, told the dispatcher that he and her had a verbal dispute, and he claimed that she took his Adderall. Keep in mind, the Adderall is a big deal because that was like at the center of all of her addiction issues. Like that's a big accusation to say she's doing Adderall, and that she was completely out of control, that she had kicked him out of the house, but he stayed until cops showed up. Either way, it seems like they are now back in good terms. She posted a whole nother big long story where she goes, oh, it wasn't mom and son porn, it was actually MILF porn. And
oh, that's good. That's better. Listen, I can't blame him for that. Have you seen the porn categories? Like they're not like they're getting worse and worse. Like they're starting to make you feel weird. It's like, guys, can we just get rid of the titles and just make a video? Let's go back to old school porn. Okay, I'm over this story. Let's go to number 8.
Number 8, Harry Styles graces the cover of Better Homes and Gardens.
Interesting. Wait, what is it called? Better Homes and Gardens?
Better Homes and Gardens. Yes, it's like an old lady magazine that, it's about like your home projects and making your house look good. Well, here's the thing. I think this is all a big publicity stunt because his new album is titled Harry's House. So I think this is like, he knew he'd make a bunch of news if he goes on Home and Garden magazine because it's so out of left field. But his album being called Harry's House, he did do this like whole long interview with them, and he's basically saying that he doesn't even care if this album doesn't like do amazing because he put so much of himself into it that he's really happy with it, that he's like, if it's not gangbuster, it doesn't matter. I'm happy with it, and that's what's important.
That's such a Harry Styles move.
Right.
Really? Like, come on. That is such a Harry Styles move. I mean, isn't it the goal? That's what you say to protect yourself. Like, I don't care if you guys, this album was for me. Come on. That's at the end of the day.
Let's be realistic. If it's just for you, you wouldn't release it. You would listen to it at home by yourself. But it is for everyone. That's the point of being a musician and putting the music out there so the world can hear and give you praise.
Harry Styles. I mean, listen, it's people go, oh my God, girls will still go crazy for him over that. Like, oh man, he's so dreamy, he's so romantic. I mean, there's more we're gonna get into. I think there's got to be a news story that kind of relates to Harry Styles a little bit coming up. And this, because there was a lot of good news stories this week. All right, let's go to the next one.
All right, next one, Bad Bunny. The Latin artist. He is now entering the Marvel universe. He is getting a Marvel role as a Spider-Man character called El Muerto. I've never even heard of the character El Muerto, and I'm a big Marvel fan too.
Are you? You're a big Marvel guy? I know we just went on some comic book podcast and we realized I know nothing. You know more than me about this stuff, but he is a star, this guy. When you look at him, I'll be honest with you, I don't really know much of his music. It doesn't.
No, yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you searched Bad Bunny, I'm telling you, you know a lot of his songs. You just didn't know it was him singing it.
Okay.
So, but he's got a lot of really big hits. I'm telling you, and not only that, he is doing really well in the acting category. I mean, he appeared in Narcos Mexico. He will star in Cassandra. What else? Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. I mean, he's doing all kinds of things. And so this latest role, he is, like I said, El Muerto in this new Spider-Man movie. And basically, I'm assuming this is with Tom Holland, but I'm not 100% sure.
He just actually recently he does a lot of stuff with the WWE. So, I mean, he reaches a lot of fan bases. Obviously, the Latin genre has got a strong fan base. WWE, strong fan base. Comic book, strong fan base. And, again, I don't follow comic books as much as I follow WWE. I'm a wrestling fan. But he, over-delivered as a wrestling fan. Like, he went in. Like, he put himself out there. He got physical. He showed up more than one time. congrats to him. He's making a lot of money this year.
Absolutely. All right. You ready for number 6?
Yes.
Hailey Bieber had a hole in her heart. So this is a huge deal. She underwent a procedure recently to close up a hole in her heart after having a mini stroke. She opened up about this on her YouTube page the other day. Basically, she told, she had this hospitalization in March. People didn't know that this even went down, but she said that she was having some like stroke-like symptoms from a blood clot that traveled from a hole in her heart to her brain. She said she was having breakfast with Justin, her husband. She began having trouble with her speech and was experiencing numbness in her fingertips. She said it was the scariest moment of her life. And they ended up having to take her over to UCLA Medical Center. And they said, yeah, we found this tiny, small little opening between the two upper chambers of her heart, the right and the left atrium. And so a blood clot came out, traveled from her heart to her brain. And so they had to go in and basically close this up. But really scary stuff. And I can only imagine like they're sitting there having breakfast and she's slurring, and how absolutely scary that must have been.
Yeah, I mean, yes, terrible situation. Very scary. The thing I like about Hailey Bieber is that she probably could have took the story to GMA. She could have went to the Today Show. She could have did something with Gayle King, but she always does like stuff for her own YouTube, and she's not like a YouTube vlogger, but she does content on there a little bit, and then she does like random interviews every now and then. I like how she very subtly does interviews. It doesn't come across too thirsty, and also she was able to control the narrative. But again,
I think that's the big thing for her, is controlling the narrative in a time in her life where she feels like she doesn't have control, because Justin, her husband, is such a big star that she's just been ridiculed and everything just because people are jealous of her life.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope, Bieber fans haven't been the warmest to her. You got to give her a break on this one, guys. Just let her go. All right, what's
Let her
next?
go. All right, next. Robert Pattinson is returning for a Batman sequel. This is a big deal. Obviously, this new Batman movie has done amazing numbers. It was the biggest movie of the year in regards to numbers, because people are actually able to get back into theaters. Well, at the recent Cinemacon, I guess the Batman director Matt Reeves was on hand to announce that there will be a follow-up to that movie, and that Robert Pattinson will be once again in the bat suit. Like I said, this was a huge, huge deal. They kicked off with like 134 million domestically with ticket sales, and then it was the biggest weekend opening of 2022, post kind of like the pandemic era. And it's just been huge. I have not seen it yet. I have heard it is good. You did see it yourself, correct?
I did. I'm glad he's coming back. You can't be a one and gun Batman. I know Ben Affleck sort of went down that route. George Clooney kind of sort of went down that route, but like you got to really commit to the part. First of all, the money is got to be insanely well. Number two, he did a good job. And I said this before, I didn't have a lot of I didn't think he was going to pull it off. I did not see or vision Robert Pattinson being a Batman. But after the movie came out, I was like, I wasn't in love with the movie. However, there was no issue with Robert Pattinson playing Batman. So of course he's gonna, do the part again for a sequel, and it makes sense.
Yeah. All right. Let's get going. We're almost running out of time here. I want to make sure we're in and out. People like these quick, fast little Cliff Notes versions of the week. This one is wild. So coming in at number 4, Olivia Wilde served custody papers while on stage at Cinemacon. And these papers were from Jason Sudeikis, her ex-fiance. He sent her papers while she was at the Las Vegas Coliseum, or, at Caesar's Palace. There was a venue of 4,000 people. She was up on stage. Someone came up, handed her a manila envelope containing legal papers served on Jason's behalf pertaining to their 2 children, Otis, who's 8, Daisy, who is 5. Can you imagine? Like, that's kind of messed up.
Dude, it's so messed up. And have you, Dex, you used to work in a video department for a news outlet. Have you seen footage of when people get served?
Yeah, it's awkward as hell,
It's
dude.
so awkward. It's embarrassing. It's messed up. Like, it's really messed up how they kind of do it. And I get it. You have to, like that's sort of what you do, but there is sort of like a
But you say, okay, saying that, you need to look at the photo. So there's photos of her, and maybe I'll have Michael grab some of these photos and put them on our Instagram page. But there's photos of her up on stage. She gets this like manila envelope and she's smiling because she has no idea what it is. And she's in front of her. She's like, "Oh, is this for me?" And she opens it and you see the whole demeanor change. It's not smiley. She like looks in, closes the envelope up, and when you look on the outside of the envelope, it says personal and confidential on the outside of it. But you can tell like that sucks, man. Like, why would you do that to her? And I gotta understand. You know where she's at. That she's not always on stage. You know.
no. And here's the thing: is Sudeikis said that, well, his camp said that like they never approved of that happening. Ideally, from what I understand, again, I'm not a lawyer, but the lawyer has a little bit of say when the person should get served. I mean, I guess there's like an unwritten rule you try not to do in front of children, but they could have served her at her house. They could have, like there's different
There's
ways
a
you could
lot
have
of
done
other
it.
places
Different
rather
ways
than
to do it.
publicly embarrassing her in front of everyone.
You wonder, you gotta wonder why the lawyer would decide, hey, this is the place to do it. Why on stage? Is that person who actually handed over their papers, are they getting in trouble? Because like, hey, you should have waited till she got off stage, not when she's on stage. And now it makes Sudeikis look like a dick, even though he said I didn't approve that. I have nothing to do with that. It's just it shows where
it makes him look really bad.
But it shows you where they're sort of at in their relationship a little bit. Like, hey, you're not like, she had to get paper served to her. You couldn't just call her and say, we'll legally hand it out like smoothly. Like
that means that it hasn't worked in mediation. It hasn't worked in other situations. So clearly, like you said, they are in a not good state at all. Well, she's over here. Is she still dating Harry Styles, by the way?
Still Harry Styles. That's why I knew this story was going to have to. This is such a wild story. We talked about Harry Styles earlier. I was like, we got to think about Harry Styles' name is going to pop up again. And you wonder if Sudeikis has got to be so upset at how it went down. Like, of all people, once they broke up, or, I mean, we don't know how the relationship actually ended, but we saw right away, like, hey, she's with Harry Styles now. Like, are they dating? Like, it was a weird ending to that relationship.
Here's a question. What? I mean, I know what a lot of young girls would say, but what do you think? Is that a dating up or down compared to Jason Sudeikis, aka Ted Lasso?
Dude, here's the thing: is Ted Lasso obviously is a huge success, but then you have Harry Styles, which, it's a little bit her junior, but he's the hottest thing. Like, he's a big star. He's, I don't know. I don't want to say you're moving on up, but she moved on very well.
Okay. All right. Coming in, let's see. We are coming in at number 3 here. Kim Kardashian on her new show in tears after Kanye West received the rest of the sex tape from Ray J. So this is an episode which clearly they know what they were doing, and they knew that this would bring a lot of attention for the new series of the Kardashians. But it's Kim, and she is in front of her sisters and some friends. And she is just bawling, and she says, "Look what Kanye got me. He met Ray J at the airport and got the original computer and the hard drive with the rest of the sex tape. And he's doing it not just for me, but for our children. So now the world will never see any of the rest of Kim Kardashian's 2007 sex tape."
I'm pissed. Come on, Kanye. No, listen, it's definitely a Kanye move. Like, I feel like he's one of those guys, like, he just does, again, I don't know, but he just seems like the type of guy who goes above and beyond and does not your normal gifts. Like, he does something like that. I can't lie. I am curious of what was on the video, but Kim has said.
Well, they kept like basically insinuating there was going to be a second sex tape that came out, and she had said, "Oh, I watched the footage. It was something at a restaurant, a nightclub, nothing sexual, nothing weird. So no, I can take a deep breath and not worry about it right before SNL." But nevertheless, I think she was very happy to have like the final version back in her hands, so she's not worried anymore.
Props to Ray J for kind of doing this. I don't know what was involved.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you watched this clip, but Chris basically at one point had said, "Oh, this had to be a fat, huge check." And Kanye responded, "Oh, definitely not no check. We are not getting extorted ever again." So I
Wow.
wonder what was involved here. If
Wow, interesting.
yeah. So
Okay.
all right.
Good one.
Well, let's move on. Benedict Cumberbatch coming in at number 2. He has
All
confirmed that
right.
he is housing a family of Ukraine refugees. This is such a heartwarming story. He had signed himself up on this website called Homes for Ukraine. And basically, you can say, hey, I'd like to help people that are fleeing Ukraine, need shelter, need a home, need food, need all of this stuff. He put his name on there, and now he has a family headed to his house right now. He said, look, they're getting medical treatment. I don't want to say what they're doing, but they're getting some medical treatment before heading to my house. I am just so happy to be able to help. There's a lot of turmoil going on and instability in this world, and I am really happy to be able to help them. But wow, can you imagine fleeing your home and you land in Benedict Cumberbatch's house?
Jackpot. I mean, yeah, insane, wild. That's incredible. I think Benedict is doing an amazing thing because he's giving a lot of attention to this charity, this organization.
Mhm.
It's not just him just doing it, but he's also giving a lot of awareness to this organization that people might not have been aware of. Props for him to actually not just promote it on his social media, but to actually partake in it. But like, what a cool
Yeah,
person to
that's
live
it.
with
That's the
and
other thing.
deal with.
It's so easy for these big stars just to be like, this is what you should do. And he's actually not only doing it, but like how many stars open up their house? I've never heard of someone doing this before. This is honestly unbelievable. I love it. This is such a good story, such a good feel good story. So let's move into a really shitty, not feel good story with number 1.
Uh-oh, it's got to be. All right.
All
I
right.
mean, come on, we know what it is.
It's, of course, Amber Heard, and the fact that she did not donate half of her $7 million divorce settlement to charity like she has sworn up and down that she did. So this is a big deal, a part of this whole defamation trial that's been going on this week. There was basically a couple people in there on part of the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles that got up and said, look, I know that she told the world she donated all this money to us, but in fact, we have not seen it. This guy, Terrence, he's the general counsel for ACLU, testified in a videotaped deposition that she has not donated her pledge of 3.5 million to the organization. Only about 1.3 has been donated, but that's not the crazy side. It's because a lot of it didn't even come from her. Like, I guess some came from Johnny Depp himself. Like $100,000 check came from Depp, 500 from a donor advised fund, and 350,000 from Heard. But here's the thing: that that $500,000 donor, they think that was Elon Musk. So
Wow.
like, so she, out of all of that, she paid $350,000. That's wild, dude.
That's
She said she was gonna pay all this
that's
money, and she paid $350,000,
how
and
embarrassing is that?
it's bad because she said it in, like, the London High Court even under oath that she donated this money. This is
Yeah,
bad.
that's bad.
She look
It's embarrassing.
this court
Would you,
case is really just making her look terrible.
would you say this is the most embarrassing part of the whole court case so far?
No, I think shitting in a bed and blaming it on a dog is definitely more embarrassing.
Yeah. Yes, maybe. Maybe that's the most embarrassing part. But I actually thought, here's the thing. I actually thought number one this week was going to be, and again, the news just came out because we made this list, but there's news that just broke. James Corden is leaving his show. Do you know that? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did hear about this. He's leaving a show. It's been, what, 8.5 years or something like that he's been here. He wanted to do it for like 5, but he stayed a little bit longer, and so signed a 1-year deal, an extension, and it's making it sound like that will be his final year, which is smart. You can't just get up and leave. You got to do one more year. The ratings will be through the roof, just like Ellen.
Yeah. But you know what the thing is, though? The ratings did well. Here's the thing. Ratings did fine. TV in itself, I mean, it's funny. I was talking about this with someone in the industry the other night. TV itself it's so weird because it still costs so much money to make, and they're not making like they're not getting the viewers that they once did. Now his show did okay, like well, it did well in the ratings. It wasn't it
It did
wasn't
better on
bomb.
YouTube than it did on
Exactly. It
TV.
killed on social media. It killed on YouTube. It killed on Instagram. The carpool karaoke and stuff. So that's where they did very, very well in. So,
But here's the thing. I think he's just getting so busy with his acting career that now the TV show has become a burden. And he could do the
I
same
agree.
thing, make these super viral moments. You could literally have the James Corden Late Late Show, but just on YouTube without the overhead of a CBS studio and all the crew members. Like, give him one camera guy and just keep his YouTube page up and running. I mean, it would be huge. Like,
Exactly. I get it.
exactly what you said. I don't think I've ever stayed up and watched it on TV. I love his show, and I only watch it online.
That's it. Well, that's the rundown for the week. Dax. How you doing?
Yep, that is it. You guys now are caught up. This is the Hollywood Raw rundown, catching you up on all things in entertainment news, leading you into the weekend feeling good, feeling like you are ready to discuss and feel in the know. So make sure you stop by, leave us a review on iTunes. Take the 2 seconds out of your life, please. We beg you. It means so much to us, and we love reading some of these comments that are coming in, even the bad ones. I read today. I sent it to Adam. I said, some asshole left us a nasty review. So I'm going to need you guys to go and leave 3 good reviews to balance out the one shitty review we got some grumpy old asshole out there.
I think they're just playing. They're just having fun. But leave a good review. 5 stars. Worth to help us out. We'll see you guys next time.